Hey guys, it's Joelle. I know the lighting's not the best right now because like this side of my face is like dark and this side of my face you can just see really well. I really don't know what to do with it. I'm really sorry, but we're just gonna have to deal with this for like the next couple minutes. Yesterday I was gonna make this video, but then my phone was dying, so I didn't make the video. I charged it, but then by the time it was charged I was really tired. Now it kind of seems like the perfect timing because my parents aren't home, my sisters aren't home. I do have work that I'm still working on that I have due tomorrow, but we could just hold that off for a little bit and I could just talk. What I'm going to talk about is very, I guess you could say it's traumatic. Sorry, I'm closing the drawers with my foot. Like it's just traumatic all around. For, you know, it just is. So this happened to me about 3 years ago. I was in a mental hospital. And I'm not going to sugarcoat the word. I'm not going to say psychiatric ward or anything like that because for me it didn't help. Because each time I went in, I did go in there multiple times. Each time I went in, I left worse than when I came. About 3 years ago, I think, because I just turned 20 like back in December. 3 years ago, I was on this certain med that's supposedly supposed to make me angrier than usual. I don't know. I really didn't know. I wasn't even sure what med I was on. I kept forgetting the names. Because certain meds would kind of like fog my memory, and then I would just forget the names, and I'm just like, what is this? I don't know. So most of the meds that I was on, I didn't really know the names of or how much I was getting, so there's that. This is a side of a mental hospital that I'm pretty sure everyone should know about. This staff member, also I will be saying names, because I want them to know who they are. Because they know who they are, and I want you to know who they are, because I'm not gonna just sugarcoat what happened to me and say that it wasn't as bad as it was. Her name was Diane, and she was walking through the door. Because I had done something, I don't remember what I'd done, that had gotten me in trouble, so I couldn't go with the other kids to a room that was down the hall where we could do art therapy and stuff, which I don't get. Like, if you're in trouble, they just stop your treatment, basically, which was something that was keeping me, like, close to sane. I don't think that would make me any better. I wouldn't have thought that I would have learned from that. So they withheld that from me. I was a little extremely mad. I tried to go through the door that was leading down the hall where you could turn to the right and go into the room, and she told me no. And she took the door and she was gonna close it. And as she turned to walk away, I took my hand like this and I kind of slapped her on the back like that. I kind of went like that. It was like, I don't know how to describe it. It was like I was really angry and I couldn't express what I wanted in words. I couldn't express like how I wanted to be treated and how I felt. I couldn't really express it too well. I don't know why. I was pretty articulate back then, but not as articulate as I am now. This other woman who I never liked throughout all the times that I was in the hospital before that time, she just starts saying, no, no, no. She just starts coming from behind me and she grabs me. She hugged her arms around me, like up to here. So then my arms are kind of just like floating around. It was all just happening like so fast. I could not process what had just happened. She's like pushing me forward and dragging me down the hall, like forward. Like she's holding me in the bear restraint and like pushing me forward down the hall. I'm trying to get you like a clear depth of what exactly was happening, but like she was like pushing me forward down the hall. And we get to this room, into this like specific little room, and we go in the doorway, and then I'm kind of like slammed on the ground. My shoes are pulled off, which wasn't really lucky for me. My shoes weren't tied too well because I wasn't known for tying my shoes too well. And I was just like, no, 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 because I couldn't process what was happening. It was just going so fast. I'm like, what the frick is happening right now? Another thing, there was a young man. He was like 17 years old. I'm not going to say his name because I respect his privacy, not the other three. So he was off in the corner in that same room where I'd been pushed down in the doorway. And he didn't speak any English, he didn't know any English, so that's why he was separated from everyone else. Because for some reason, along with not speaking English, he had some other special needs that I wasn't fully aware of. And he was staring at me. I couldn't just see him staring at me, I could feel him staring at me. So like I was on the ground and I didn't know what was happening. I was confused. I didn't know why they were doing this. And then Yvonne, she tried to grab my wrist like this to kind of hold me down. And as she was doing it, her finger kind of went out like this, her first finger, and I bit it down really, really hard. And then I remembered, you know, I don't want to lose my teeth today. So I kind of let go after a while, but by then she was already bleeding. And I just started screaming. I was like screaming curses and screaming random things and just screaming, screaming, screaming. I was just like screaming really loud. I had no idea what they were doing to me. And I remember as I was lying on that ground, they were holding me and they were like, they weren't even looking at me. They were like looking up. So there was a third person there too. She held on to this wrist and then Yvonne held on to this one and then Diane held on to my legs. And I don't know how I'm able to talk about this so calmly. It's incredible. The two of them were holding on to my wrists and they were looking up and forward away from me. And I didn't understand why they were doing what they were doing. I didn't, like, because in Elisa, that's her name, I'd put a lot of my trust in her. I trusted her with a lot of things that I told her about. I opened up to her about a lot of things, and then she's doing this, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, in that moment, it was like the second I hit the floor, all trust was just gone. All trust was just gone. So I'm on the ground, I'm screaming, get off, get off, get off, get off me, let go of me, don't touch me, blah, blah, why are you doing this to me? And it was like they were doing everything in their power to make me feel powerless. And I hated that. I hated being on the ground and feeling like I didn't mean anything. I just felt like less of a human. You know, I didn't really feel like I was human. I felt like they were treating me like some kind of animal that they're manhandling or something. I don't know. So the point of that restraint was for them to hold me down until I ended up calm. Because I remember at one point I screamed, get off me. And she was like, we won't get off until you're calm. I just felt so offended. So the more I tried to push them away, I would try to like move my arms, but they kept them immobilized. They were like, I was being held like this. And my legs were just straight out. The harder they held down, which I don't know how that's supposed to calm someone, because the last thing an angry person wants is to be touched. I remember I had never felt that angry ever in my entire life. Sorry guys, I got a notification to clean my ear, but I'll do that later. I hated it. I hated the way they were doing that to me and why they were doing it and what it was supposed to cause. There were like a bunch of other people that came by. I don't know who they were, I didn't know what they were doing, I didn't know why they were there. It was humiliating because like the boy in the back who didn't speak English, he was staring at me and he was making scared noises like squealing and stuff, and I didn't like that he was watching me, and then they were watching me and they were holding me down. I was losing all of my trust in them. And then all these people start coming in with this stretcher. I remember I just kept imagining myself that if I were to have been able to have been let go, I would have just ran to my room and never come out. And they lifted me on the stretcher. And I was wearing a jacket, this red jacket that I gotten from this trip in France. I never took that jacket off for the most part. They pretty much ripped it off of me because they thought that I was going to use it to escape, like through the point restraints, because that's what was on the stretcher. And then they put me in the restraints. Like they put the thing around my wrist and then they put the ones around my ankles, and I was kind of being held like this and my legs were straight out. They also gave me some Benadryl and they shot me with this stuff. They put this needle up my butt. And they gave me this pill and they were doing everything they could to calm me down. But to be honest with you, I never could have calmed down. They put me in this thing called the quiet room. I don't know why they call it that. It's a stupid name. And I stayed there for a while. I had to sign something. I didn't know what it was. I was just like, I don't care. I don't give a crap. I'm just gonna sign it, whatever. It was probably something that made them seem untouchable if I ever wanted to press charges or something. I went to the bathroom and I took a shower and I just started just breaking down and crying. And during that time, it was close to nighttime, which I wouldn't have been able to tell because you can't really see out the windows. They told me to stop crying, that the kids were trying to sleep, like the other teenagers and stuff were trying to sleep. And that only made me cry harder. So afterwards, people that I did tell, they were like, oh, they were doing it to keep you safe. I haven't really told that many people about it. Like, even as I'm talking about this, I'm still, like, feeling something. Like, I kind of feel like this, like, little anger inside of me, but it's easier to cope with now. I never told anyone about it until it got to the therapist that I have now. I told her about it, and she sympathized with me for once. But then I also told the CMO worker, because my parents want me to see a therapist, but I'm already seeing one right now, and I really don't want to see another one. I don't need two. And I told her about that when she asked me what traumatic event had hurt me. I told her that that was one of them. And then I started crying, and she was like,
"There's no reason to cry."
And I just thought to myself, what are you talking about? Of course there is. In my honest opinion, I do not believe that restraints are okay. I don't believe that they should be used. I don't believe that they help people or keep anyone safe. And I also believe that other people who believe that they are okay have never been restrained before, so they really can't say. I do wish that I could stop restraints from ever happening. I don't want them to be enforced anywhere, in any situation. At that same hospital, I'd seen other people get restrained. Just seeing them get restrained made me feel horrible, and then when I got restrained, I only felt worse. I had to deal with that trauma and flashbacks and the nightmares for almost 3 years now. It's always gonna be a memory in my head, and it's always gonna scare me, but I'm able to better cope with it now. Although this thing, I don't think I can completely let go of it. I don't think I can forgive them for what they did to me. I don't think I can forget, but I can move on. Could spread awareness, and I could, I don't know, maybe enforce a law that says that that's not okay or something. So that's pretty much the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I doubt you'd like this, because this was a pretty vulnerable video for me. Peace.